You could be a character in any 80s movie with that voice.
Yeah, I could.
You know, I was watching another 48 Hours before you got here. Sometimes I just enjoy some garbage, you know, just on the afternoon.
My wife and I were watching Revenge of the Nerds the other day.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely no way that movie would possibly get released today.
Oh, I can't imagine. How in the world could they do that now? There's so many
were a
that
different
they
time, man.
Yeah. What was I watching the other day that there was basically a rape in the movie? It was
Anything
like
from the 80s?
I know, it really was. The girl went into the closet, and it was, 5 minutes of heaven or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It was definitely a rapey.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a woman straight up gets raped in Revenge of the Nerds, and she ends up with him. And if you watch all of the movies, they end up getting married.
Aw, so sweet. And on that note, welcome back.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt. We're back.
We are. Where have we been?
Napping. Probably a lot of naps.
I've had a surgery about my weight. I've had more weight injected.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was smart.
Yeah.
Good call, buddy. Good call.
Also, we had a little bit of a falling out over politics. I'm a Dewey supporter, and, you're Truman guy through and through. So.
Well, I do like the short, stubby fellow as much as I can get him. So, yes.
Hence me.
That is correct. This is a work in progress. We're in a new studio, which is / my other room at my house.
It's comfier. Mood lighting isn't as sexy.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah.
I'll work on the sexy mood lighting. Don't you worry. We might even pull a webcam in here sometime.
Oh.
Yeah,
that means
really
I have to
have
shave.
to. Yeah, you'll be fine. We'll just put some shadows on you. You'll be like, Orson Welles. Or you would be like Will Ferrell playing Orson Welles in that IFC show. Do you not know what I'm... Oh, the spoils before dying?
No.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, shut the podcast down. Now we got to talk about spoils before dying. Fake movie about this movie that this Orson Welles character made, but it never got seen, and now he's finally coming to light and being shown. And Will Ferrell is drunk the whole time, and he's pontificating, and he's fat, and it's magical.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
There's 2 seasons of it. Both seasons were excellent.
That's great.
That was not on the schedule for today, but that's a little bonus for everybody. And for you as well. I definitely say put that down.
Well, now that you're talking about, he's playing an Orson Welles-like character.
Sure, yes.
Made some old classic movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that segues nice into our first topic.
The saddest topic.
Yeah, Filmstruck.
It's going bye-bye.
Now, what was Filmstruck?
Filmstruck was film nerd heaven. It had all the classics from Turner Classic Movies, that little station that nobody watches on TV except cool people.
That was my favorite station back when I had cable. Now it's hard to find.
It was so good. Yeah, a lot of the stations decided that classic films should not be in their package, but 18 stations of cooking and reality shows should be.
Or how many Fox Sports Southwest channels are there?
Oh,
right?
My goodness. Don't even get me started on that. So, not only did they had Turner, they had, more importantly, they had the Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
Hulu
Ever
started
since Hulu
out with
got
it.
rid of those.
Yeah. And if it goes back to Hulu, I'll be okay with that.
But we can get mad at Hulu for getting rid of it, but Hulu also just uploaded every episode of King of the Hill and Married with Children. So that's a net. That's a net for me.
Not the same, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was reading a list of places that it could go now that it is no longer the thing. Well, first of all, it makes me sad because wherever they go next, it's not going to be Criterion and Turner. It's not. And that combination was worth every penny that I paid every month for that thing.
Well, I mean, where do you find your movies now, your classic movies?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. There's some websites. For example, Amazon actually bought... I mean, a lot of them are public domain movies, but they've got them available for you to watch. The Sherlock Holmes, a lot of Hitchcock, that kind of stuff.
But not the stuff that people really want to see.
True.
If it's after 1934, it's kind of tough to find.
That's true.
So when you're talking about like the golden era of Hollywood, they're gone.
Completely.
And for me, it's kind of like we haven't learned from our mistakes because... just because old films were made on nitrate,
Yep.
A lot of them burned, a lot of them degraded. They weren't stored properly. And from what I've read, they said up to 90% of all silent films have been lost. So like Lon Chaney had a famous one, was it London After Midnight? Mm-hmm. That they based his character in that. There are only like 3 or 4 stills left, but they based the Hatbox Ghost from Disney on it. And no one's ever seen this movie. No one alive has ever seen that movie because it just wasn't taken care of. Now, my question is,
Yes.
how are we going to educate kids and young adults, people going into film school, about movies that came out before 1972 if there's no place to actually watch these things?
Right. And there is no place. I looked around. Have you ever seen the website Mubi? Maybe Mubi.
I
They've
think
got
so,
some
yeah.
pretty obscure stuff, which is nice that they have that. But
Yeah.
if
But there's no
Criterion
place
goes
where you
away,
can just look and say, hey, where can I watch the 1931 version of Jekyll and Hyde with Frederick March?
Sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, at least if they switch Criterion someplace else, I would assume that they would allow you to get the director's commentary and that kind of stuff. On Filmstruck, they would do specialty times. Like they would have a director and then they would have some of his stuff. But you couldn't access most of it most of the time. That was the one downfall. That and the app is terrible on Roku, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, well, why doesn't Criterion do their own streaming app? Is it not profitable? I mean, Filmstruck obviously wasn't because they shut it down.
Yeah. Well, they shut it down because AT&T is a horrible company, and they're going to shut us all down one of these days.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm assuming it's not. I'm assuming that the manpower that it takes to upload and stream that stuff is just not, doesn't seem to be worth it. For whatever reason, though, they always have 50% off sales on their DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. I don't know how they do business over there, quite honestly.
Well, the thing about Criterion that you say, 50% off on their Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Or their DVDs, but their DVDs will still cost like $40.
That's true.
And it's because they're doing limited edition runs of them. They're not doing, a million pressings, and that's kind of the problem is that at some point, is the government can't do anything right now, but is someone going to have to step in and find a way of preserving our culture? Because, this is something we've touched on before. For me, I hate the term pop culture, and I hate when people say it's just a movie, because, what's popular is what gets remembered. That's, there are a lot of other composers besides Beethoven,
right?
But he was popular, he got remembered.
And I think that's something that we'll talk about in later in the episode as far as political films go.
Yeah, but my point is, at what point are we going to have to say these movies, they were commerce at the time, but now they are part of our cultural identity? We need a place to save them. Are we going to have to change some copyright laws to make more things public domain?
Now,
I don't know.
Will they allow that? Because it seems to be that, look, I understand if you have a copyright on something that, it's your thing and you want to make money off of it, but at a certain point, when's the, to give back for the greater good? Well,
think about this. Superman was created, the first Superman comic was released in 1938. He was created before that. His creators died more than 25 years ago. And the Max Fleischer Superman cartoons are all in public domain.
Mm-hmm.
But the character isn't. Mickey Mouse should have been in public domain 30 years ago.
Right. It is in other countries because they just steal it.
Right. But they were able to lobby and change copyright laws to make sure they didn't lose the copyright on Mickey Mouse. But at some point, the creation does mean more to society than
I would hope that
anything.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope that stuff is remembered as being important, because at a certain point in time, we'll lose, like you said, a lot of it. Beethoven is, that's who we remember. So what we remember now, I'd prefer we didn't remember Fast and Furious. No offense.
And then you have someone like Disney, who they've just announced their streaming service is going to be called Disney Plus.
Right.
And they're going to put on not only new content, but everything Disney has ever touched.
Yeah.
And this kind of makes me a little bit hopeful, because the one good thing about them now owning Fox is that all those old classic Hollywood films could possibly
are valuable to them.
Should
be
be on this streaming service.
Right.
So if Disney keeps going this way, they just keep buying up studio after studio.
Right.
They're going to own the history of Hollywood. And say what you will about Disney being a greedy corporation.
I will. I'll do it.
Right. But they treat their properties for the most part with respect, and they understand history and what it means to people.
Right.
So, man, I don't like monopolies, but if they're going to save, film history, maybe we should let them do it. No, we shouldn't let them do it. No.
Because they'll do it.
I mean, this is the same people that, they'll still play Zippity Doodah,
right.
the music, but you can't see that movie.
No, that you would fall apart, the world would end, anarchy would reign supreme. Even though Viggo Mortensen's still dropping the N-word in interviews. But whatever.
He is?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yes. I didn't see that.
We're going to roll right into that. So he's doing the new movie with the guy from Moonlight.
Yeah.
Ali. Also in the new True Detective. Very excited about that. And they were doing a Q&A. And the question came to him about the 60s and how things are. And his answer basically was, we don't say the N-word anymore, but he said the N-word and referencing that. So kind of technically, I guess, in a very general sense, you can understand what he's saying, but you can't really say that, especially doing press for a movie about the 60s where there's a black fellow and a white fellow that had to do this whole thing. And it's not good. It's not good. There goes rough. His Oscar.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Well.
But it's kind of like when Sam Jackson was doing press for Django Unchained, and this white guy was interviewing him, and he said, "What do you think about the use of the N-word? What word is that? The N-word? Yeah. You mean no? No, you know which word? No, you say it."
Yep.
And he just refused. It's like, okay, then let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Maybe that is kind of the smartest way to go about talking about it, is to not fucking talk about it.
Yeah, and just leave it alone.
Because, I mean, when people are like, can you believe that this movie set in the South during slavery uses the N-word? It's like, yeah, I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, but it would drive me crazy. It drove me crazy watching Valkyrie, and there was no German in that whatsoever. Like, if you're making a movie about a thing, about a time, then it has to reflect that period and piece. You can't just whitewash it. Well, I mean, you can because they do all the time, but you shouldn't whitewash it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the German accent thing, like, I kind of don't. To me, that's not as much of an issue as long as, they, didn't try to make them out to be, oh, no, all of us Nazis think Jews are great.
Well, that's true. I just want to take a shot at Tom Cruise. He still hasn't welcomed me into Scientology, and it hurts my feelings.
Yeah. Well, my thing is when people complain about that, his lack of an accent, it's like, well, no one's getting mad at Bill Nye for not speaking in a German accent. And anytime someone watches, let's say, a play of Shakespeare, right? Like they're doing Romeo and Juliet, right?
Sure.
Are they speaking in British accents or because they shouldn't be?
The only version of Romeo and Juliet that I accept is Leonardo's version, and he did not speak.
Oh, go fuck yourself so hard. I tried to watch the opening of that. It was on TV a couple weeks ago.
TNT, probably.
I tried to watch the opening of it. That movie's unwatchable. The fact that anybody ever liked it shows you how ridiculous the 90s were.
It made money at the box office.
Piece of shit.
It made money, didn't it?
Who cares?
Well,
Paul Blart made money. Does that make it right?
Well, the studios think that it does. But if
that's not the point. That's not the point. Can I do the straw man whistle song? Because that's not the point.
Right. No, I hear you, but, they are the ones that get to make these things, and if they make money off of it, then they're going to make more. That's how they roll.
That's true.
By the way, that's me creaking in my chair, not Matt, so blame it on me. So speaking of 90s movies, I'd like to talk a little bit about how did it work? Did it not work? Did it work? The classic A Last Action Hero.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best or worst.
Well, it was him making a movie about making fun of the movies that he was known for making. Right. And the problem was he did it while he was at the top of his career making those movies.
Yes.
And he did it before people were tired of those movies.
Agree with all those. I agree with all those.
Because what year was that? Was that like 96?
I believe so, yep.
Okay.
95, 96, yeah.
So we're still not out of like the Armageddon Twister phase, right? People were still making ridiculous action movies. I think they still had one more Lethal Weapon still in them.
Jeez.
And if this movie had come out in the early 2000s, like if he had made that instead of running for governor, I think the movie would have been received a little bit better. But they were doing a postmodern deconstruction of the action film at the wrong time. You don't do that right after True Lies, because True Lies is like the quintessential 90s action film, right? And I think that the movie got unfairly maligned because people either didn't get it at the time, they didn't realize it was supposed to be a deconstruction and a humorous one at that,
Right.
or they just weren't ready for it.
Or it was garbage. And let's
it's not
talk
garbage
about
at
how
all.
it's garbage.
It's not garbage at all.
Garbage in the way that a story works in the film. So let's talk about the unresolved character situation in the movie. Let's start there, if we shall. Why was this bully like a real criminal? That doesn't work for the character. That dude's 12 years old. If somebody attacks you when you're 12 years old with a knife, then you're going to be scared. What does that tell you about the character? All right. Next. Yes, I'm listening.
No, it's just, it almost seems like everything in that movie that doesn't, everything that happens before he gets into the movie itself, like, doesn't really matter. It's all, it's a plot convenience to move him to show, like, okay, he's a loner and he's got one friend and it's this old weird guy and they're going into the theater.
Okay, so immediately your answer is it's a bad movie because it skips an entire part of the movie. Okay, all right. So let's move on. I won't ask about the relationship with his mom.
Okay.
Let's start. Next question. Where does Leo the Fart come from? He's nowhere in the beginning of the film. There's nothing to talk about Leo the Fart. Nothing happened. And then he's just there. He's just there as a dead man. And also, you don't see him die. Why do we just talk about him dying instead of seeing him die or something happens that he dies? Go.
Once they're in the movie,
yes,
you have to treat it like shitty 90s movies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if you're talking about the plot of what's his character name? Jack.
Jack, yes.
Yeah. If you're talking about the plot of the fourth one of those movies, they're not supposed to be good, and it's supposed to be ridiculous, nonsensical. Like when he gets out of the tar pits and he's covered.
Okay, so
and then he just like wipes his face and then he's completely clean.
So the real world movie so far doesn't count, and then in the movie. Then it doesn't count either. Okay.
No, the plot holes in the movie don't count. Everything I said leading up to getting him into the movie, it's just plot convenience.
Where does his daughter go? That's just an open-ended question. You don't have to answer that one. How does killing Arnold Schwarzenegger in real life connect to killing Jack? That's what I want to know, because
there would be no more movies made.
See, but that's not explained. It's not explained at all. It's not.
No.
It's not.
A movie's not going to fucking handhold you.
I don't need an explanation, but it's not painted into the situation. It's not painted into the scenario.
They even basically say that there won't be any more movies if they get rid of this guy.
Ripper and Benedict are two villains from two different movies. That means you have to have two different conclusions from two different movies. Why not put those two things together, or have Ripper the bad guy in both movies? Why do we need two? Because that gives us three climaxes in the movie for no reason at all. No reason at all. Because our third climax is when Jack dies and they have to take him back to the thing. Okay, so then here's my other question.
He doesn't die.
Well, right, he gets shot and then they have to save him. Right. So, and then where does death from the Seventh Seal come in? How come in the beginning when he's doing the play of Hamlet, how come that couldn't have been connected in some way, shape, or form? That's how a movie works.
The ticket hadn't been torn apart yet. The ticket's what allowed death from the Seventh Seal to get out.
Yeah, but
and by the way,
does it have anything to do with getting out at that point?
What?
It's just nonsense. That's what I'm saying.
It's a fucking movie about a goddamn magic ticket.
Nonsense. E.T. had a storyline.
It's about an alien. Aliens are more probable than a fucking magic ticket.
Oh, and okay, so fine. So Death comes out and he tells Danny where the ticket is or how to find the ticket. Why can't Danny do that? As a character, he should be able at this point in time in the movie to find it on himself.
No. They have made it abundantly clear that the only thing he understands is movies, and everything else he's functionally retarded.
Okay, well then that makes him a terrible character.
Well, no one ever said he was a good character.
Well, then that's exactly my point. So Last Action Hero, terrible characters, terrible script, terrible storyline, but entertaining.
I mean,
but entertaining.
It's no Buffalo 66.
Well, that's true. But what is?
No, I think for what it is, it's as good as you can do that. I don't think
that's crazy talk.
No. Name another one that does it better.
Well, just because it hasn't been made doesn't mean it can't be made better.
But don't you think that since They've done deconstructionist cinema has been around for quite a while.
Yeah, sure.
And I can't think of another one that deconstructs the 90s and 80s action hero cop movie better than that. Except for, it's not a deconstruction, it's a spoof, but National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 does a pretty damn good job of it.
I get you. You know, and there are movies like The Other Guys, which are definitely maybe just more homages than anything to that. But, it's still kind of this, especially when they jump off the side of the building to start off the movie.
Yeah, that's more of an homage, but it's also taking a form that basically has the layout done for you, and let's do this, and then throw jokes in, Yeah, because if you strip out the jokes, it's still a version of one of those movies.
Right.
If you take out the funny stuff from, the funny stuff isn't just added into Last Action Hero. It is supposed to, like that. That's what it is.
Right.
The whole thing is a deconstruction of it. You can't just get rid of the one-liners and all of a sudden it's, one of those movies, because it doesn't work that way.
Well, it doesn't work, period.
Yeah,
but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it does.
And it still entertained me. And I saw it in the theater when it first came out.
I can't remember if I saw it in the theater or not.
I saw it at the theater that's not there anymore off of 75. It was called something that I do not know.
That really helps. No, it's fine. I showed it to my oldest daughter, and she actually really enjoyed it. The problem is she hasn't seen a lot of the movies they're making fun of.
So there's not a reference point. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. She's never seen any of the Lethal Weapons, but the funny thing is that movie is actually better than a lot of, because when you think of Lethal Weapon,
I think of it a lot.
Right. Lethal Weapon, Lethal Weapon 2 are really good movies. They're very good. And while they are, the 80s buddy cop film, they're not as ridiculous as they're made out to be in Last Action Hero, right? So are they making fun of Tango and Cash and Cobra more? Because when you take a look at these parodies and what they're making fun of, like every time someone does a zombie movie, they're making fun of zombies and they go, brains, right?
Sure.
Zombie movies had been around for 20 years before zombies ever said brains. The first time they said that was in, Return of the Living Dead. That was in the mid-'80s. And it's one of those things where you think it's a trope, but it's really not. So how many of those over-the-top action movies like that were there? Or they're really only just a couple, and it seemed like they were bigger than what they were.
Yeah, because they were sold to us over and over and over again, i.e. Demolition Man.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with you on Demolition Man. Even though, yeah, okay. I'll concede that one.
Now I need a Pepsi. Hey-o!
I love Demolition Man.
It's
that one's great.
Sandra Bullock is so bad in that movie. Like, for her to be where she is now, after seeing her in that movie, it's astonishing. It's almost as somebody took her place. Like, she died and somebody replaced her.
But the thing is, she's supposed to be like that. Like, I think if you put the best actress in the world and said, this is what the character is supposed to be, this is the world in which they inhabit, she would still speak that way. She would still act that way. I think it's appropriate for who she's supposed to be.
Let me tell you something, sir. I saw Forces of Nature, which was a few years after this movie, and she still wasn't very good. But I can tell you for a fact that her acting improved from a 0 in that movie to like a 1.3.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's just that was a choice. That was a choice because Benjamin Bratt's the same way. If you notice, all the young people in the movie
he was good at being bad.
No, but I think she is too. All the young people act the same way. Meanwhile, him and his buddy, the old cop who was the pilot at the beginning.
Oh, yes.
They're not like that, right? The older guard aren't like that. The younger people are.
No. Mm-mm.
I could talk about Demolition Man all fucking day.
I'm not buying it.
I love Demolition Man.
If we had tacos from Taco Bell, we could do that.
Oh, man. That's a story and a half with that.
I really hope that the people out there still watch that. Like, I would hate for that to get lost. Things like that need to stay around.
I'm actually really pissed about that movie for one reason. They had it on sale for $4.99 on iTunes. And I'm like, yes, going to buy it. It said widescreen. Great. Movie was shot in anamorphic, right?
Yep.
No. It was cropped into 16:9.
Ugh. Why?
Like, it's ruined the movie.
Yeah.
It's ruined the movie.
It's so ridiculous. I don't understand when they do stuff like that.
Why? And that's like the third movie that's happened to me with.
Ugh. Too much. Too
Yeah.
much, sir. What else we want to talk about today?
Oscars.
Oh, yes, that thing that we do every
What
year.
have you seen, not just movies, but like certain things that have stood out where you're like, okay, this is going to win something? Okay. For me, I really hope that Toni Collette gets at least a nomination for Hereditary.
Boy, I did not see that at all, and I want no part of that. I've had too many. It's just been horror movies the last couple of years that everybody want to talk about, and I'm just
Well,
not.
because they're really good lately.
I'm just not.
They're very good.
I mean, we've talked about that movie that everybody thinks is great that is not great.
Which one?
You know, that one, the place and the Get Out and the stuff.
Oh. Get Out. It was okay.
Yeah, that's where I stand with all those.
Yeah.
So I'm
No, but her performance in Hereditary is a hell of a thing to watch. It's her best performance ever, and that's saying something for her.
Okay. Before we talk about 2018, I want to remind everybody that there was a movie with a fish sex scene that won last year. So don't forget that when we're talking about 2018.
Man. You know what? Okay, you know what pisses me off about that? That's not even his best movie.
It shouldn't be.
And he basically
his
had
top
to make,
5 movies.
Instead of him making his weird Mexican films,
Right.
he made basically an impression of a French film like Amélie or City of Lost Children. Like,
Okay, I can see that.
he didn't make it felt like he was aping someone else's style a little bit. And I'm not saying it's not good. Movie's fine, looks great, acting's great. That's all great, but it's not even close to his best.
Right.
Hell, I'd say Hellboy 2 is a better movie than that. But he had to make something French in order to get him noticed.
Gotta get those awards, man.
He might be the most talented filmmaker who gets the least amount of respect. And I don't get it.
No, because he makes films somebody wants to watch. Did you see Black Klansman?
Not yet.
I didn't either. So let's not talk about that. I'm just kind of looking through this list real quick as I see, and you know what? There wasn't a lot that excited me this year.
This year has been kind of bullshit.
There's not been a lot of things that I jumped out of my seat over.
I will say
a
this.
few movies.
I would love... Well, first of all, I think Mandy's going to get a nomination for cinematography, for sure. But I would absolutely love, if they had a special reward for hubris, right?
Yeah.
Because Marvel would win. We weren't doing the podcast, so we didn't talk about it. But the fact that they took that ending that they did for Infinity War, knowing that the theater was going to be filled with 6 and 7-year-old kids,
Right.
and hey, you like these characters? Watch them die.
That was pretty cold-blooded.
It was ridiculous, and to end your biggest movie ever on the villain winning and smiling.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the ending going into it, so
Neither did I.
It
wanted
really
to
caught
stay.
me off guard. I was like, okay, so how much more of this movie's going to be as they start fading away? And I was like, oh no, we're done here. We're done. Wow.
And that's why I kind of hope that the next one, this is the trailer. I just want it to be like a snapping finger and then the title and the date. I don't want to see a frame of footage. I don't want to know anything about this movie going in. And this is the first movie in history, I think, you don't have to sell. Everybody saw Infinity War. Everybody liked Infinity War. It's made $18 billion.
Right.
Everybody loves it. Everybody can't wait for the next one. You don't have to sell it. Just tell us where, and we'll show up.
And they'll never do that because they're so scared of making sure that everybody gets there.
Oh.
Do we jump right into the best movie of the year? Do we want to do that right now?
I don't even know what the best movie of the year
Well, there was one great movie and then everything else this year.
Okay.
The Death of Stalin.
I haven't seen it yet.
That is the one great movie that does everything that a movie like that should do times 20.
And there's this great YouTube show called History Buffs where they take movies that, historical films, and they pick it apart and say, this is what's right about it, this is what's incorrect, this is what's accurate. And the funny thing about The Death of Stalin is, except for the fact that they'll take things like, instead of happening within the same week, they actually happen months apart.
Right.
Except for just condensing the time.
Yes.
Everything that happened is accurate.
So accurate.
And ridiculous.
So absurd.
Because you watch it and you're like, oh, they were really that afraid to check on him that they just let him stay there for 3 days.
Nobody wanted to be the one to say he's dead. Nobody wanted to be that person. And then they all had to make sure, well, crap, who's coming next? I got to make sure they're not going to kill me.
And this channel also went into the history leading into how Stalin came into power. Mm-hmm. And then to learn, like, I didn't even know that he gave himself the last name Stalin. That's not his given name.
Oh, nice.
Because in Russian, it means man of steel.
Nice. That's excellent.
What balls?
We talked earlier about accents and that kind of stuff, and
no one gives a shit in that movie.
Yeah, they just didn't even. There was no need.
Which is great.
Everybody just played it straight, which is crazy watching Jeffrey Tambor play that character. But at the same time, it works so well.
I think that might be why I didn't see it, just because the stink off of him has just kind of.
You care about this stuff. I watched Louis C.K.'s movie. It's different,
dude.
Man.
I can't
it's
watch.
It's not in the real world. Those are two different things.
But for me, like when I know how awful a person can be in real life,
but most
I kind of don't
so
care.
So many of them are. But you watch Woody Allen films.
No, I don't.
And you watch.
I don't actually.
You've watched Woody Allen films.
I've watched a couple, and I didn't care for him.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He's not my thing.
And it's just levels of badness, and most of these people aren't necessarily good people. Artists aren't really great people.
No, I know that. I know that. But when it's that fresh, it's kind of like trying to go back and watch American Beauty, and you're gonna be like, oh.
No. I mean, I don't like that movie, so I would not enjoy it if I had to go back and watch it. But so what's the line? Does it go, okay, well now 6 months from now it's all okay again, or is it 1 year and 3 days? I mean, I don't have lines like that. It's just,
no, I don't have a line like that either. It's just occasionally it gets difficult for me to enjoy someone's work when certain things come out.
I love Michael Madsen still. Tarantino's going to use him in the new movie. He's a terrible person. Allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I would still go see Bryan Singer movies in college.
Right.
Even though when I was in college, everybody knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And it's like...
The director called, or the musician, whatever his name is, called Tarantino a scumbag the other day, or whatever he said about Tarantino. The Italian guy who did all the spaghetti westerns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we all assume that Tarantino's not the best.
Oh, you heard about what that one woman said, right?
Oh, sure. And, I've heard definitely stories over the years about different things. But
I was in college.
I will be there first show of the day when the new one comes out.
Oh, yeah, I was in college in L.A. when, the Kill Bill movies came out.
Mm-hmm.
And there were tons of stories about him because he used to drive around in the pussy wagon all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember standing in line at the the Fox Theater in Westwood, waiting to go see Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 in the morning, or like 11 in the morning. I was going to see the second showing. And I was standing outside in line, and parked right in front of me was this... like one of those Italian supercars, right? I think it might have been a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And as we're starting to move in the line, the first showing gets out. And Tarantino, and this is like the first day the movie came out. Tarantino comes out, walking arm in arm with a model. Looked like they've been up all night, which they probably have.
Sure, I imagine so.
And he had come out of the first showing of his own movie that morning and got into the Lambo.
That's why I love him.
And I'm like...
That's why I love him.
But he's the one guy where it's like, I love Django Unchained. I absolutely love it. And I hate his acting in it so much, and I wish he wouldn't have cast himself in it, but even that isn't enough for me to not watch the movie.
Oh, his ridiculous Australian accent?
Fuck,
come on,
man.
That was good stuff.
No, it wasn't.
That was hilarious.
No, it wasn't.
And then he gets blown up.
Yeah, but...
Spoiler alert.
This is also a guy who put himself in Pulp Fiction in the one role where it's like, hey, man, I get to say the N-word a bunch.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
He could have played anybody in that movie, and that's the role he played.
Well, that's true, but then at the same time, you have to get somebody else to play that role that's comfortable with that.
If I had made that movie, you know who I would have played? The Gimp. That's a great little piece of trivia, right?
That would have been...
Not saying he wasn't good in his role, he was, but if anybody he could have put himself in that movie, and there are like 90 speaking parts in that film, there's so many speaking parts, He put himself as the character who gets to say the N-word all the time.
Yeah, but again, who are you going to get to say that, though? You have to deal with another actor to be able to do that.
He would have been great as Brad, even, at the beginning.
Sure. But again, you
like
have
that
to
guy,
deal
too.
with an actor that has to say all that stuff and convincingly say that and is not uncomfortable with that and all the other things that come along with that. And rather than having to deal with that, he just said, screw it, I'll just do this so I don't have to worry about that. I'll take the backlash because somebody's going to get backlash over that. That was inevitable.
I just want to write a book called How Does Quentin Tarantino Get to Use the N-word and everyone's okay with it?
If Jamie Foxx says it's okay, then it's okay.
Right?
And he says it's okay.
Yeah.
And Sam Jackson says it's okay, too. So.
But what else from 2018 stood out for you? Not just for Best Picture, but like... best editing even.
Oh, well, I'm not going to say that. What I am going to tell you is my two back-to-back movies I watched back-to-back, I think maybe 3 days apart. Uncle Drew, the Sprite-made movie with all the basketball players. Just a great movie. That's how it is. It's fun. It's silly.
It's what it needs to be.
All the story arcs are completely obvious and coming from a mile away, but I still thought it was really good. And the other one that I just love so much and nobody saw, but that's okay because I'll keep it in my heart. And it was the classic movie, which is the best movie like that since Belly. And it was, dadgummit, I always call it Shaft, but it's not Shaft. It's the other blaxploitation movie.
Superfly?
Superfly.
Oh, you're the person who saw Superfly.
Superfly was so good.
So was
for a movie
Director
like
X
that.
even... Did he do his job?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it looked good. It worked. There was... The sex scene definitely was interesting. People in the theater weren't sure how to respond to it, which I found highly amusing. And it just worked. That lead actor, whoever that guy is, killed it.
I can't believe you saw Superfly.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, those are my kind of movies. I'm always going to go watch those kind of movies. I've always been looking for a Belly since Belly, and this is the best movie like that since Belly.
Then you would love my mentor's movies that he made in the 70s.
Mm.
Black Belt Jones, Hot Potato, 5 on the Black Hand Side, which is a legitimate great movie and has the best trailer of all time.
Nice.
5 on the Black Hand Side is just...
Detroit 9000, I love that.
Oh, yeah, Detroit 9000.
That was so good.
Dolomite, of course.
Sure. And
Now, what about the new Shaft? Because I saw the last Shaft. I saw that the day it came out in the theater with my best friend.
The one with Sam Jackson?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculously fun.
That was so much fun.
It was.
A lot of big-name people in that
really
movie.
was.
That was back when we thought John Singleton was going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up not being the guy.
Yep. Oh,
do you think that Mr. Robot's going to get a nomination for his Freddie Mercury impression?
Yes.
Fuck it, man.
Yes.
When are people going to stop falling for that bullshit?
Which is what?
Hey, I kind of look and sound like the guy. Give me an Oscar.
Well, but I mean, that's kind of how the Oscars have always been designed. I mean, if it had been something different, but that's their thing.
I'm going to call it now. Jonah Hill's going to get a nomination for mid-90s.
Oh, sure. Definitely. But again, I mean, those are years and years of him putting in work and kissing butt, which is, I look forward to kissing butt too, but that's part of the process. And then people will go, oh, okay, well, I like that guy, so no matter what he does, I'm going to, nominate him.
Now, do you think that the Oscars are becoming less important to people?
Oh, definitely. But everything is becoming less important to people.
That's true.
But yes, it is in the sense that people don't look to them for their movies to watch really anymore. I mean, I'll still go through 60s and 70s Oscar nominated movies and I go, oh man, I don't know if I've ever seen that before, and I'll do that. But I would never do that in say 2010. I don't care what's going on there.
But like after, especially since, and we've talked about this before, apparently, how movies are changing and stories are being told in different ways.
Right.
It almost seems like they're going to go away at some point.
No, because that's an industry thing, and industries like to kiss themselves on the butt. I guarantee it's not going to go away anytime soon because they don't really care who's watching. They only care that they have a night where they can pat themselves on the back.
Well, do you think that's going to... Well, there's no lack of other nights. Like, each guild has their own. The foreign press, they have their own.
Sure, but those aren't historically important.
Well, the historical importance of the Oscars was kind of manufactured.
Oh, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that, but it is now that it's viewed in the industry as still the quintessential top of the food chain award situation. I mean, you get paid more. You always are going to get paid more for getting an Oscar than you are for any other award. Like that bumps up your,
true.
your pay, 20%, however much it is. Just being able to put that, or even nominated. Just being able to be nominated, you get a pay bump for that.
I hate the fact that Eddie Redmayne has won an Oscar.
I pretend like he doesn't exist because he doesn't exist to me because I've never seen a movie of his because I don't like him. He has a weird face.
Not one movie.
Nope. Theory of Everything. Nope. That's the only
Theory of
movie
Everything. The fact that who'd he beat out for that was just ridiculous.
What was it? 2 years ago?
No. Who was it?
I don't know. He
Was it
beat out
Michael
anybody.
Keaton?
Oh, was that Birdman year?
Yeah,
Probably.
that.
But that's how they do. Like that's just I don't. Nope. Don't like
Yeah.
him at all. And I don't like that. I'm gonna go watch the new Robin Hood movie, but I don't like
Don't.
that dude either.
Don't.
Oh, I'm going to. I'm going with the rumble seats.
You really shouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got inside info about that.
Don't care. It's gonna be terrible.
Oh man.
I'm not gonna like it. But
Can we just give "Won't You Be My Neighbor" the Oscar right now for best documentary?
Gosh, there's been some really good documentaries this year, though.
That'll win.
It probably will win, but there's actually been some really good stuff this year. I mean, I didn't see the Ruth Bader Ginsburg one, but I've seen some random ones that were actually one of the ones that I saw was interesting, but not good. It was about this guy named Scotty, and back in the '60s, he was basically a pimp for all the Hollywood dudes.
Ooh.
It was really interesting. So I'd never heard of it. There was a gas station in town that everybody kind of went to, and they knew he could hook them up and keep it on the down low. And so he was kind of that guy for decades in Hollywood. Everybody from Cary Grant to he would have ladies come in there, but it was an interesting story.
Well, that's also funny too. Somebody like Cary Grant getting prostitutes if there's someone who doesn't need to get a prostitute.
Yeah,
but
you
Cary
still
it's more about being quiet and
perception,
and also keeping it down low.
Yeah, because like they talked about in the movie, you can do that in Hollywood and everybody knows and nobody cares, but in the Midwest, if you want to sell tickets, they can't know about that stuff.
Yeah.
They can only read about the tabloids and just convince themselves that it's not true.
Also, a waitress will, if you're into weird stuff or, got tiny equipment,
right.
A waitress might talk about it, but the person who's getting paid probably won't.
Yeah, because that's really going to kind of ruin your...
Unless you run for president.
Well, but, even if it was somebody else, it probably wouldn't have happened, but because it's him. That's why that happened. So First Reformed, I think it should do... That was definitely maybe my favorite movie going experience this year, because I didn't know what to expect from Paul Schrader going in.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of things, a lot of interesting things.
I haven't seen a lot of new stuff this year. There's just nothing that's really jumped out at me.
I know. I mean, I gave up my movie pass because it was just like, what am I going to go watch right now?
Yeah.
It made me sad, but I did. I mean, I watched some bad movies this year because of Movie Pass, but there's not even any good bad movies that I want to watch.
That should be an Oscar category.
Good bad movies?
Yeah.
Face Off would have won.
Meg will win so hard.
Well, that was enjoyable as well. I did have fun with Jason
so
Statham. It was, it takes a little bit to get used to Jason Statham in that role.
Jason Statham.
But once you did, I was like, oh, okay, I can buy it.
That's also the moment where I realized, China, they're kind of controlling everything now.
Sure, and it is interesting to see how Chinese movies are made in that way because it's the Chinese version of America.
Yeah, where it's like, first of all, there's like 5 scenes completely in Chinese. Everything is in Chinese. The side of the boats is in Chinese. All of their operating systems are in Chinese.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like an oddly sexless movie.
I could, definitely. The little girl was adorable.
Yeah, but like also no blood. For a movie about a giant shark, there's no blood.
Yeah, Statham was kind of disappointed in that. I guess in the script it was much more bloody and violent.
Well, the script was written like 20 years ago.
Yeah. Of course it was.
Yeah.
Ugh. I can't wait for my script 20 years from now to be bought. That's
Which
the
one?
dream.
The Meg 2?
The Meg 2, Fast and Furious 23, I don't care.
Oh man, Fast and Furious.
Whatever.
Did you
Over
see
the
that?
Top Part 2?
Okay, did you see that picture? Because, they're doing the Fast and the Furious spinoff with him and Hobbs.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Did you see the picture that The Rock posted of him in shape for the first day of shooting for that movie?
I watch him on Instagram often, so I know what kind of shape he's in, but I have not seen this specific
It's
one.
this shot that's just him, no shirt, facing the camera. Like, he's not... of course he's flexing, but like he's not like in the middle of lifting weights or eating like
Right.
he usually is.
Sure. Right.
He's just standing there.
Yes.
And it's the kind of picture that if this man had existed 1,000 years ago, there'd be religions based on him
About
now.
him. Yeah, for sure.
Like, this man is not a man
No.
anymore. He has gone
I was reading
past.
something
Here, you
about him.
vamp for a second because I'm going to pull this picture up.
You pull a picture up. I was reading something about him the other day. He's had like 5 knee surgeries, 3 hernias, an abduct tear, all kinds of crazy stuff. And all I could think was, yeah, I think I'll just keep sitting on my couch because you have as many injuries as I might, and I'm not doing anything. I know he gets his cheat day, but I can eat donuts every day of the week.
Yeah, but the thing is, his cheat day is like 15,000 calories. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you're married to a woman.
Says who?
To a woman, right?
Mm.
Are you ready to change your mind?
Yeah, that's a sex
My
maniac.
God.
Yeah, and he's 50 something.
Yeah, he's 50. But here's the crazy thing too. None of his characters in his movies get down. He's oddly sexless in his movies too.
I think that he kind of planned it that way in the sense that
he makes family movies.
You keep the broadest audience possible for doing that because he should have had the sex scene in Walking Tall, for example.
Right.
That's a perfect movie to have that.
Right. But here's the thing. When I saw Walking Tall, I was like, holy shit, this guy's in shape. This picture I'm showing you is a man who could rip that other guy in half.
I think he's been doing training for his new TV show as well. Have you seen the new TV show?
No.
It's like a Ninja Warrior times 10.
Yeah.
It looks insane.
Did you ever see
We should try out for it.
Stephen Austin's Broken Skull Ranch?
I saw most
That
every
is
episode.
the greatest show where it's like, okay, now y'all are going to get naked and you're going to wrestle in some rock salt.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
It was on his
And then you're
lane.
going to hit each other with a steel pipe. Hell yeah.
I miss Stone Cold.
That wasn't-
He stopped drinking beer now, too.
What?
Yeah, health and stuff.
Oh.
We all get old.
Now, if you want to have a good time, go on the internet
Yes.
and watch the video for Stone Cold E.T.
Okay.
It's a guy who goes through a McDonald's drive-thru. There are a few, but the best one, he goes through a McDonald's drive-thru and he orders Big Macs as Stone Cold E.T.
Yeah.
He's wearing an E.T. mask
Nice.
and sounds exactly like Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's amazing.
Can I not say that I always find those amusing when you do that through drive-thrus, but at the same time, I feel like drive-thru employees should have a gun. So,
Right.
you're rolling the dice. You might be funny, and you might get some hits on YouTube, but you also might get shot.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, like,
It's a beautiful
that's
man.
ridiculous.
He's a beautiful man.
Huge.
I'd marry him if need be.
And also, Jungle Cruise is the biggest contract he's ever signed for a movie,
Oh, that's crazy.
and it's going to make $1 trillion.
I would like to make $10, please.
Like, and that movie's not coming out until July 24th, 2020. So they're going into 2 years of post-production.
$10. That's all I want.
That's
Just 10.
insane.
Just $10.
And he's playing John Henry.
So-
Anyway, enough about The Rock.
So we've fawned over The Rock long enough. So let's roll this all into a ball. What are we watching coming up? Anything? Not even doesn't have to be new. What are you looking forward to? I mean, I am looking forward to Mandy, but that's not going to be mine.
What am I? What's the name of it? Cheney or whatever.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's gonna be the best movie of the year.
I knew Christian Bale was Dick Cheney, and I still didn't know it was Christian Bale in the trailer.
The thing that surprises me is how much. First of all, it also proves that when I saw Sam Rockwell
Yes.
doing his W impression,
Mm-hmm.
it reminded me of. Did you ever see Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Actually, yes, I did.
And I love that movie. And I remember watching it in the theater the day it came out. And he goes, "Yeah, I cut myself in two because I realized you can't be president with a whole brain."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, I was trying to figure out who you were doing before." And yeah, you're doing a George W. impression,
Right.
And I'm glad that he finally got to do it because he's perfect.
That dude's the best. You and I
But
both know that.
this Cheney movie, man, oh God, that's gonna be great.
Can't wait for it. I'm really excited because they are playing executive action at the Texas Theater. coming up on the 18th. We're going to miss JFK because it's on Thanksgiving.
We are going to miss
which really makes me
JFK.
sad.
They're doing a 40th anniversary screening Fathom event for Superman in 4K, which I cannot wait to go see. I'm going to go see it with my daughter.
Nice.
So that's cool. What else is coming out?
Well, here's mine. Claire Denis has a new movie. It's a sci-fi movie. It's her first sci-fi movie. It's also her first English-made movie since Trouble Every Day. It's called High Life, and
None of these things, like, it doesn't feel like you're actually speaking
there's a
English
sex
right
robot involved,
now. Listening.
and Robert Pattinson is in it, and Juliette Binoche. She is the one who enjoys the sex robot, as I've heard in previous things. So that's coming out, who knows when, because I never know when they put things like that in the theater here, but that's what I'm super excited about. High Life, I think you will like it, quite honestly.
I'll give it a try.
She's such a innovative director. She can do different things. Just Trouble Every Day is kind of a vampire movie.
Yeah.
35 Shots of Rum is like a real personal film. She did the original Chocolat, which didn't have anything to do with the other Chocolat, and look at me. I'm praising a female director as we go out.
Oh,
today.
man, yeah, you never do that.
Next time, I've got another female director I'll talk about, but I'll save it.
Okay, I'll actually tell you what I'm looking forward to.
Hit me.
Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
That has, not so much because it's Spider-Man, because I'm kind of to the point where I don't give a shit,
They've made a lot of those.
but the animation style on it looks really neat.
Huh.
So that I'm looking forward to.
Is what's his name going to come back as Venom?
No. Mortal Engines looks like something that I would have really liked when I was in high school.
Yep. I
And
will
right
watch
now
that.
it just looks ridiculous and pompous, and I'm
yes. I'm kind of
like,
interested.
what the
in
fuck
it.
happened to
Kinda
Peter Jackson,
interested.
man? Mary Poppins is going to make all the fucking money.
Sure.
And they do traditional 2D animation in it.
Oh.
So like
that sounds fun.
when they do the penguins and
Yeah.
stuff, they're 2D again.
Nice.
So that's going to destroy. But yeah, it looks like Vice to me is going to be the one
That's
that...
going to be so good.
Yeah. Also, Vox Lux, I kind of want to see.
Yeah, I'm not against that one.
When does that come out? I don't even know.
I think January. January is my favorite month for movie releases. So.
We've talked about this in your... It can be your favorite, but doesn't mean you're right.
Oh, and we didn't even talk about Orson Welles' new movie coming on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And
When's
the Coen
that one
Brothers'
out?
new movie. I think they're both coming out this month.
The Coen Brothers one I cannot wait for. Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
I
Man,
gotta see
you
in the
got me at the
theater.
title.
It hurts my feelings not to see the Coen Brothers in the theater.
Oh, Holmes and Watson I actually want to see.
Yes, that does look funny. I'm not gonna lie to you. That does look really funny.
I watched it. It's the dumbest jokes in the
Yes.
trailer, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
Did you see John C. Reilly rapping on Sway in the Morning?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you should. Everybody go enjoy that. He drops a little Sugar Hill Gang, and it's glorious.
Yeah. Bumblebee, I guess.
No.
I've got some issues with Paramount right now, but we won't get into that.
No part
Like
of it.
personal issues, and I think they might be worried about Bumblebee.
Point on this chart and tell me where they touched you.
In the wallet.
Don't I know it?
No, it seems like because when they were first advertising Bumblebee, it was more about it's a girl's connection with her first car, and it's a heartwarming story. And now it's all like they're pushing the action aspect,
Right.
And I think it's because it's not tracking as well as they wanted to with girls. So let's get boys.
So let's
back
bring
into
the boys.
theater. Yeah, it's
They're
so
suckers.
stupid.
Boys are suckers. They'll come for any explosion. On that note,
Yeah.
let's talk next time.
I
I got to go finish 48 hours or another 48 hours.
You need to watch
excuse me.
fucking Mandy. Is what you need to watch.
It's savoring
You need
it.
to watch Mandy.
I don't have to savor another 48 hours. I can just press play on that and it'd be okay.
Mandy is not a movie you really savor. It's a movie that you experience and then you think about and dwell on, because it is the narrative. There's not much there, but it's about how it's told, and it's just fucking
I savor
beautiful.
things like that, the interesting, unique films. Sunday afternoon, another 48 hours. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I get that.
All right, buddy. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Let's talk next time.
See you.
Let's see if this file even works. We're out. I just haven't hit the button yet.